to call this meeting of the Lisbon Town Council to order. We all rise and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Beth, the roll call.
Councillor Bickford,
Here.
Councillor Bowie,
Here.
Councillor Cody,
Here.
Councillor LaRochelle,
Here.
Councillor Lunt,
Here.
Councillor Mason,
Here.
and Councillor Pomelo.
Here.
Okay, our first item of business.
Is public hearing. Special entertainment permit, Firehouse Diner.
All right, do we have anyone here to speak on the Firehouse Diner? I will open the floor. Okay. If you'd like to take the podium.
Hi, I'm Karen, the owner of Firehouse Diner. We are looking for an entertainment permit just for one day. We weren't looking for every Saturday night. We'd like to have a really nice grand opening. I wasn't even sure what kind of entertainment I'm going to have. I just wanted something to be able to cover myself, that I was doing the right thing. So Twyla said to go ahead and file for the entertainment license, and I'm not sure if it's going to be just a DJ or maybe just one person playing guitar, or we're not even sure. But I just really wanted to make it a grand event and have lots of specials, and we're renovating this weekend, and thank a lot of the customers that have been there for us and in helping us here in the last 5 months and continuing to come. So we're really excited about it. So that's what our vision is. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, I'd like to make a motion to,
It's in the, okay,
We're in public hearing.
right, we're still in the
Public
public
hearing?
hearing. We're still in the public hearing.
can't make a motion to move it forward.
Nope, we're still in the public hearing. Right now is for the public to speak. If
Okay.
anyone else
Okay.
here has anything they want to say on the, this issue before the board, they're welcome to stand up and speak on it. Okay. Well, I will close that public hearing if we have nothing further on that. Okay, and the next item?
Is audience participation. At this time, those in the audience who wish to address the council may come forward. Please use the microphone at the podium and state your name for the audience here and at home.
All right, if we have anyone in the audience who would like to stand up, yep, go ahead, Mr. Fillmore.
Larry Fillmore from Lisbon. The actual amount budgeted on 2011 was $7,684, $7,684,757. The total amount spent was $7,081,998. That's a difference of $602,759,000. Where is that money?
It's the first I've heard of it, so I have no idea how to respond to that.
The other question that I have on this is, the federal government in the state of Maine gives refunds to the taxpayers when they have them coming. Why do we not refund money that was not spent during the year but taxed back to the taxpayers like other governments do? Okay? The people paid this amount. Why don't they get it back if it wasn't utilized?
Well, I believe the state does keep a amount of money in their fund too. They don't refund everything that they don't spend. It's like, just like you have a checking account at home, it's wise to keep some money in the bank.
There is, but we have a surplus account, we have all kinds of accounts that aren't accounted for, okay? So, I mean, the people have a right, if they paid the taxes in and you guys didn't use it, then we should get it back. That's logical. Now, I know that you have to have budgeted, and you budgeted more this year, inflated the budget to account for emergencies and everything else, as you do in every year. you allow a fudge factor, okay? So it's already in there. So why don't we get the money back if you didn't use it? And like everybody else, I mean, we should get some of it back. I'm not saying all of it, but we should get a portion of it back because you took it very easily from us. Okay? The other thing is, a secret agreement or cooperation for fraudulent or deceitful purpose. That's the definition of collusion.
Thank you. Anyone else from the audience who would like to speak? Okay, I'll hold on for Dot. Would you like to speak?
You want to speak?
Sorry, yeah, I'd like to. Dot Fitzgerald, resident of Lisbon Falls. A couple of questions. On the Moxie Festival, the T-shirts that the town sold and the soda that they sold that was given to them by the Moxie Coca-Cola Company, I'm wondering, does the town pay taxes, sales tax on what they sell?
Would you know that?
No.
You don't pay
There'll be a
tax?
full report on the Moxie Festival in a few weeks, so that the council and the public will hear on all the events and monies raised and items like that. But no, we don't pay taxes on
So
it.
you don't even pay sales tax? That's kind of an unfair advantage to Frank Anicetti. A gentleman called me earlier this week and rather upset. He has two properties in Lisbon that were being foreclosed on, had been foreclosed on without his knowledge. I've been at town council meetings and I've heard the town manager say several times when Jody was giving financial reports that the town would prefer not to foreclose on properties, but work with taxpayers. I went on the Androscoggin Deeds website. I go on quite a bit. It's amazing what you can find there. And I found that that gentleman had numerous liens, sewer liens, tax liens, and he had numerous lien discharges. So it isn't as though he has not made an attempt to pay his taxes. So I guess I'm more or less commenting. I know this is coming up in executive session, but I don't think it's right to just take someone's property like that. I've got a town report here. I went through the town report. There are numerous names here, unpaid taxes. I don't know how long the taxes have been unpaid. My name is in there for unpaid taxes. They are paid, but my name is still in there. My name is in there on personal property, and I've refused to pay that. I'm sorry, because I paid personal property for over 20 years on that, and on my desk and whatever. Evidently, this gentleman has also talked with Pat Dow when Pat was an assessor, trying to get his taxes and his valuations reduced, trying to work with the town. I went on the town's website, and those two properties are pretty rundown, and they're being taxed for over $200,000. I'm wondering if anyone here on the board would consider paying $200,000 for them. I have a feeling he'd take an offer. Thank you.
Thank you, Dot. And we will, if we can, we'll try to work with that person. I don't think we want to be unfair here. Anything further from the public? All right, next item.
Excuse me.
Oh,
My name's Richard Gold. I'm here on behalf, I didn't know Dot was going to talk about Mr. Rao. I know you're going to an executive session about that, so I think we're here now to talk, and once you go into executive session, you won't be able to
the problem is
communicate with us, so
we have not been briefed on this at all yet, so we really can't
we'll be here
discuss it with
available
you.
afterwards.
Yeah. All right, anything further from the public? All right, we'll move on to the next item.
Consent agenda, Order 2011-127, Special Entertainment Permit, Firehouse Diner, and the minutes of June 21st, 2011.
So move.
I second that.
All right, all those in favor? And opposed?
Order
Motion.
passed, 7-0.
All right, next item.
Council orders resolutions and ordinances. Order 2011-128, MMA annual election, vice president and executive committee members.
You had in your packets the voting ballot along with a resume of the individuals that are, one running for vice president for a one-year term, and 3 members who are running for executive directors positions for 3-year terms. Each being a member of MMA, we are asked, you as a council are asked to vote on that, and we'll submit that.
Okay, now we vote as a group on this, correct?
Yes, you do.
All right, Mike?
I would make a motion to nominate Stephen Bunker for the nominating committee
I'll second that.
and the directors of Earl, Abbey,
A. Baddington, yeah.
and Addison, yeah. And, can't pronounce this guy's first name. Berman Banville and Lori Smith.
I'll second that.
Any discussion from council on that? All right,
Not
it's
much of an option there.
Not much, no option at all, exactly. It's vote for,
And I will say, at least I know 2 of them who have been on the board before and have done a good job, so.
That's good.
it's good to hear. All right, all those in favor? And opposed? Motion passed.
Order passed, 7-0.
The next item?
Is other business, town manager's report.
Normally during this time, the finance director would give you an update on the new budget and where we are, but she's on vacation, and it's only our 3rd week or 2nd week into the year, so there's nothing really to report at this point in time. For my report, just most residents of Lisbon probably get letters from CMP about the smart meters. They are beginning to start installing them. Even the town of Lisbon received notification. If you don't want smart meters, then you need to respond back to CMP. They gave you documentation to do that. So if you have any questions, I give them a call. I also handed out tonight the strategic planning schedule, and give you an idea of what we'll be looking at each meeting. Our next one will be on next Tuesday. We'll start looking at the charter amendments. So if you get a chance, make sure you read through those so we're up to date and hopefully move that through. If you have any questions. And then on the 9th, which is a regular, is an off night again, we will be looking and talking with the vice chairs and chairmen of all the committees. Most everybody has responded, there's a few that haven't. But we expect that we should have a full house, which will be a good opportunity for the council and them to discuss. And then the 16th, which is a regular council meeting night, we thought we'd try to keep the agenda light. It's summer, and I know summer is a time that people would like to get home before dark, and we'll start our strategic planning, just introduction to it, and it shouldn't be too long. So if you have any questions on these or any recommendations, let me know. Department heads will be discussing with their people about their thoughts on strategic planning for each department, and they'll start coming before you eventually. But Scott and I will be the first start. Also, just to bring you up to date on the Route 9 wells, we had 3 more wells that we needed to look at, and we've gone back in and done several tests in the spring and one recently. 2 of the wells have passed, so we don't have to take any action on that. We attribute it to probably the road work that was done in the ditching. The water's running off better and not as much salt. There's one that still had some, it had progressively decreased their amount of salt, but it's still a little on the high side. We want to see if that progression continues down when it's real dry, but we're in pretty good shape there, which is nice, so we don't have to spend any more money. Scott Benson, our Economic Development Director, and I met today with the new owners of Blue Ridge Fiber. It's a Maine company called Equipment Connection. They really don't have any real plans for it at this point in time. They are trying to get the equipment out. They're a company that buys large equipment and sells it all over the country on eBay. And but right now, we're going to try to work with them to see if we can find a buyer. And they did have several prospects, they said, that of people
And
they
what
talked
did they
to.
buy?
The Knight Celotex facility.
Just wanted to make sure you said that. You didn't say that.
Oh, yeah, I did say Blue Ridge Fiber. But it is a Knight Celotex, so that's been sold. The company from, I think it was Indiana, sold it last month. So we got to meet them today for the first time, and hopefully work with us. And that's all I have.
I have just one question for you, Steve. We were supposed to have the first reading of the MTM Park operational
Right,
hours.
we're not
this
prepared to
meeting.
do that yet. We'll have it at our first meeting.
Well, I mean, we're running out of time. The
Yeah.
summer's almost over, right? You got families out there that can't go participate and do the things they'd
We'll
like to
have it
do.
ready by the next meeting for sure. I apologize, we didn't get
What
that
happened
done.
with that?
We just didn't get a chance to sit down and look at it with Roger. People are on vacations, so we
Thought
just.
it was a simple
well,
change it from
we didn't get to
1
it.
hour to another hour and bring it to us.
Well, we have to go through and make some changes and pull out the MTM Park out of all of it, so we didn't get to it. I apologize.
All right, next item.
Next item is appointments, Order 2011-129, annual civil constable reappointments.
These individuals we've appointed over the last few years. It's just, we have, I think, 3 or 4 different constables we use for different appointments.
Okay,
We need to name them individually.
I believe we do.
Lucian Aslan is one, and Harry Darling is the other,
And Harry Gorman.
and Harry Gorman. Yep.
Is there anyone else that I've missed on there?
Those the only 3 that we have in the community? Or are these the only 3 now? Are these the only 3 in the community, or the only 3 that we're approving now? Are there others?
didn't hear.
Are there other constables in the community, or are these the only 3?
No, we have others, yeah. We, in fact, I think you just appointed one recently.
Yes, we did.
Yep.
All right, do I have a motion on this?
Make a motion that we accept Lucian Aslan, Harry Gorman, and Harry Darling as constables for the town of Lisbon.
I'll second that.
Any discussion from council? All right. All those in favor? And opposed? And abstaining?
Abstaining.
Abstaining, okay. Motion passed 6-0 and 1 abstention. The next item?
Counselor Communications.
Something.
Okay.
I wanted to start off by saying thank you to everybody in the community that worked very hard on the very successful Moxie Festival. Last weekend I went to the Clam Festival and I still saw Moxie shorts being worn, so that was a good feeling. It's a positive example of what Lisbon is all about. I have spoken with Steve and other counselors about the sound for the 7-5 meeting. It was absolutely terrible. I turned it up all the way at home and couldn't hear it. So we'll be working to figure out what the problem is, if it's the microphones or the internal system. And so we are aware of that issue and we'll work on it. And I had attached to the agenda packet the materials that goes out for everybody's review, a copy of the agenda from the town council meeting for Brunswick. In the recent past, this council has taken a lot of heat and we've been under a lot of fire and intense scrutiny about basically not allowing the audience to participate in our meetings, and actually have been even alleged to have a censorship going on. We do continue to allow people to speak at our meetings and are making multiple opportunities available. However, our meetings have not been progressing along like the other committee meetings in the community and in other communities like our own. And so I figured I would provide an example that we're not the only community that has set up our agenda in the format of our meeting the way that we did. One of the things that has come up and was mentioned briefly at the last meeting is that we need to revisit the council working rules. There are some items in the council working rules that have not been removed, and therefore the intent of the council working rules that were approved back in June have been changed somewhat. And so after we make those final changes, the back page of the agenda, which is actually the modified council working rules that everybody gets a copy of, those will be updated as well so that they're both consistent. So I have been trying to review those and have spoke with other councilors about that, and I do believe that we are working in the right direction. The last thing that I wanted to point out, and this is part of the debate that we've gotten, is about the location that we've placed the audience participation at the beginning of the meeting in our format. And I would just like to say that the feeling about putting the audience participation at the beginning of the meeting was so that people could ask questions either during the public hearing part of our meeting or during the audience participation part. And you folks do ask questions that make us think and ask additional questions when information is being provided to us by the town manager, department heads, other representatives that might come in and give us information. It's never been intended to cut people off from the opportunity to speak, because we actually, if you follow the council working rules under 5C, everybody's got a copy of that here, we do give the members of the audience another opportunity to speak, and that would be after we've all heard the same thing. And maybe we've increased the thought process for you folks after we've discussed with the people that are presenting information. We've invoked some more questions that you might have so that we consider things before we actually move along. So despite the fact that we're being accused of cutting people off from speaking, that isn't the truth, and we are looking at that more in depth. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything to say?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that Moxie Days was a huge success. Frank said it was the busiest Moxie Days he's ever had. He had a great day. I know there were people waiting in line for over an hour trying to get into the store that never even got in there. The parade, we had over 80 units. There were people coming that day, people that hadn't signed up that came that day. So we lost a couple but gained many, many more. I had core units that told me, we'll pay you to come here. This is our favorite parade all year, so I'm going to hold them to that next year. I doubt it will happen, but I talked to several units, and they were after the parade, and they said it was a great time. It's always a great atmosphere. They love what we do, and very excited to come here. So we should be proud as a town that we've worked together, as Lori mentioned. Public Works was out. It's always fun to watch them the week before. They're out there scurrying, getting things ready. Several on the committee worked very hard, getting signage up and doing a lot of last-minute things. So it went really well, and it was a great day. So thank you, Lisbon.
Brian, go ahead.
Same thing. I mean, I from the outside view, just kind of looked at Moxie Days a little bit different this year, driving around, and I know I bumped into Scott probably 20, 30 times over the weekend, just either before or during the fireworks or during the parade and after the parade, just to kind of get a different view on it. And when it comes to economics, I mean, I don't think there's one day or series of days that actually boosts as much of our town as what it did. I mean, the sight of seeing a line outside of Frank's halfway up Main Street is not the usual thing on every day. So, I mean, the idea of having this happen, I think is great for him. Just through my bicycle going through by McDonald's, they had a sign that they're trying to beat their record last year. They had 100 people go through the drive-through within an hour. Tell me that doesn't happen all the time, you know? So, I mean, economically, I think Moxie Days does play a big role in our community, and I think Scott did a great job this year. I think it was something that he, I'm not sure if he was voluntold or how it actually ended up coming about, but it was a big undertaking, and that's not to put aside all the other people that worked real hard, because there was, if you looked around, there wasn't just dozens, there was hundreds of people that were making this happen, from Public Works to the police to safety to fire to, it's amazing what happens in a few days. I mean, it really does. And from the fireworks, the parade to the downtown, I mean, I've never been to a Moxie Festival that 3:30 in the afternoon and vendors are still vending on Main Street, you know, and people weren't running away. So whether we can ask for the same weather again next year, I don't know, but I think it's just great. I want to put a thank you out to everybody that participated, because there's a lot of people that work behind the scenes that it wouldn't happen without, and I think they all play a big role, and hopefully next year it's can be as good.
Thank you, Fern. Go ahead.
Gina, I've been in the parade now for 20 years, and this year was the best one.
Good.
It went the smoothest, and everything about it, and Topsom Trail Riders wish to thank you and your crew,
Thanks.
and Topsom Fair Association, same
Good.
thing. Did a very good job.
Thanks. Just a side note, Scott made it through. We were a little worried the last couple of days, but it's a lot to take on something new when you're just a new guy on the ship and everybody's like, oh, we're gonna be fine, we're gonna be fine. And Scott he did great though. It was fun to work with him, so we've convinced him. His wife told him it was great, so he's good, he's good.
And I want to say the library book sale made almost $3,000 to help the library out. And it was a really, they've grown every year they've been there at MTM. They're really doing great, and they'll be back next year. So if you didn't get a book this year, you can show up next year and, help out the library. At the same time, you get some cheap books. And I was there carrying books around before the sale. I was set up carrying boxes, and it was a good crew of people that turned out there to help with that sale. And I want to say thank you to everyone else that was there and helped out, whether it was carrying books or sorting or working the sale. Thank you. Anything further? All right. Next item.
Executive session, order 2011-130, to go into executive session per 1 MRSA, section 4056C, economic development, and section 4056C, acquisition of real property.
So move.
Second?
All those in favor? And opposed? All right, we will go into executive session then. And do you expect me to come back out? Anything afterward?
I can't say for sure.
I know
What the
Rich
council
Golden said he wants to talk to us.
afterwards. So if
Okay.
If we can,